Welcome to the Better Together Life podcast.
This is the podcast for the suburban family who wants to quit the rat race and return to the land. That was unrehearsed magic right there.
And we are back.
We're back. Back again.
Guess who's... No. What is that? What song is that? Is
That's
that
Eminem?
That is Eminem. So
Slim Shady, if you dare.
Slim... Is he still Slim Shady or is he only Eminem?
I don't know what that song was. I hope you sang along with us at home. And if you're young, don't look up the lyrics.
Because it's bad lyrics?
Probably. Everything I listened to in high school was bad lyrics.
That makes sense. So where have we been? Why have we not had a podcast?
Well,
for how long?
When a
has it
mommy
been?
and a daddy really love each other. I am presently, it's nearly Thanksgiving. I am presently 15 weeks pregnant, which means I have been pregnant for 1/3 of my pregnancy, and it was not easy. It was not easy at all. Not easy for you either.
I can see your eyes. Like my wife is back. I see your beautiful eyes. Like your eyes is something are something that like I talk about. Kelly has great eyes.
Just
and
look into them.
I know, but they were gone.
So pretty much.
You were like this.
I got pregnant. I went to doTERRA's convention. And while I was there, that 6 weeks, nausea kicked in. And it did not leave any time of day for about 8 weeks. So that looked like me being vertical out of bed for a total of 4 hours a day. I was just miserable. I couldn't get on top of calories. I couldn't get on top of my blood sugar. Just fighting off nausea all day was like the name of the game for weeks. So you cooked. My mom came. She cooked. We froze meals. Our kids were fantastic. They did
your
dishes.
mom coming was like at the end of it.
It was at
you
the
were
very
almost
end.
at the end, yeah.
At the very end. And I don't know if it was me figuring out how to manage my blood sugar.
Because your mom coming was whenever you weren't able to, it was the nighttime. You were doing pretty decent then during the daytime. But before then, like once you came back from convention, you were 24 hours a day.
Yeah. I felt a lot of guilt in that. So probably other moms who are listening can maybe relate, is that when a mom is down, there is no like freedom to rest unless you really carve it out. And you did a great job giving me space to carve it out. But it was hard for my brain to just be like, I'm growing a person here. I'm doing one thing that no one else in this house can do. Everyone else can help with dishes. Everyone else can help with the vacuuming. It took me probably 3 weeks to feel like that was okay for me to just rest.
We all want this baby.
Oh,
We're
I know.
all so
Yes,
excited. All the
yes.
kids, like, and this is your job. This was the one thing that, like you said, but it was, but nothing else
got done.
So talking to you guys, watching the video on Abundance Plus, y'all listening to it, the audio on whatever podcast, like letting you know nothing got done.
There's
while
been
Kelly
no
was pregnant.
vlogging. There had been, we've just picked it back up recently, but honestly, it's been about 2.5 weeks since I actually started feeling better. I met with our midwife, who's wonderful, and she comes to you. So in Katy, we were birthing 3 of our 4 kids at the Katy Birth Center. And this will be our first home birth. So our midwife comes to our house.
Studio. It's not a home birth. It's a studio birth.
How many of you have a studio birth?
A birthing studio.
It's so weird sounding.
It is really weird.
I'm going to need you to do that voiceover while I'm in transition. That'll be perfect.
The baby is going to be born tonight in the birthing studio.
Oh, it just makes me nauseous and cringy to hear it.
You're in the...
It's an awful way to say it.
You're in the birthing pool studio.
No one's hiring you for their audiobook. No, thank you. So, short story short, we're back. We're back, I would say, with a freaking bang.
Yes. So let's go straight in. We're not doing there's nothing new in that garden. Sorry, garden.
I've taken down the loofah and I probably found 30 plus loofah in and amongst all of the loofah vines. And wow. So maybe half of them. I think we have about 15 that I'm going to cut up and make into Christmas gifts. Cause I'm like, darn it, we're doing something with these. It was just an experiment. And then the other ones we gave to pigs, and the children had bomb wars with them, like in the dark, just whacking each other with these 3-pound loofahs. So they were really purposeful.
We'll do that later. Let's go straight into, and now it's time for What's New on the Homestead. Okay, so I want to lead you in.
I was going to say, you've got something to say
about this. So we got to lead
you
in a little bit. New on the homestead. There's actually so many things new on the homestead. We're going to focus on one. Like maybe we'll give you a little bit of a brief overview of what is new on the homestead. I'm going to just go through. So we have meat chickens. We lost just now, like yesterday, 18 chickens, like some sort of raccoon or something.
It's awful.
Went through, have that in a video. It's not a great like video, but it's just the straight up what happened.
It was astounding.
Like some sort of, if you see it on Abundance Plus, like the almost like a basketball size hole, like the raccoon just totally ripped perfectly.
But it didn't. That was the thing, is it wasn't that it just ripped it, because I assumed a rip in chicken wire looks a certain way. It was like taken open and then carefully folded back so as not to injure the being, whatever it is that entered
and exited. I was like looking all over the place to see.
And you know how much time that would take? Because that would take us people, opposable thumbs, movable digits.
It ate a hole through the tarp.
It is really, that's not shocking to me.
I know, but I'm saying like it is crazy.
But whatever the predator was. And, I'm so thankful for the times when we share vulnerable stuff on YouTube. I think it's easy to kind of scroll through something you like, but when someone shares what's hard, usually you'll pause and take a little note. And if it's, if it sticks to you, you'll reply. And there were so many kind replies. There were a few that were like just salty people that probably had a bad day at work that were unleashing in the comments. But for the most part, people could really identify, like, man, not that this devastated us.
Loss.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was devastating and, we're in a puddle, but it was one of those hits where you're like, man, I felt like we were grooving today. And then you just hit this pothole and your tire not only goes flat, but the axle is just all torn up. And you're like, darn it, that was not the plan. And I think that took some serious wind out of your sails.
We'll talk more probably predator stuff as we build the poultry palace. I don't know. We'll see. Someday we'll get to that. Also, the 2 girl pigs went off to the processor. We'll do a full-on, hopefully, episode talking about that and our time raising pigs.
All in 1 week.
Yeah. But the biggest thing. So you were pregnant.
I still am.
Yeah. And
just to be clear.
You were very pregnant. And when you did not get to see us or hear from us on the podcast or YouTube, wherever, like we disappeared because you being so sick, we talked to the midwife and we were trying to figure out anything, like just something. Well, I guess it was right whenever the Hollers got their cow.
Yes.
And I don't know who said what.
Well, here's what's funny. The Hollers got their cow, and 2 days later, Jess and Maya already had their cow like planned and on the way. So they got theirs the next couple of days. And we were just on the struggle bus figuring out, okay, why is my energy so difficult to sustain? Why am I drinking water all day, eating food all day, and I cannot get on top of this? I was at week 12 and hoping, just hopefully that this would pass. And eventually my prayers turned into like, Lord, just sustain me through this, because I'm not even going to ask for you to take it away. Like, if this is how it is the whole pregnancy, I'm not going to resent my pregnancy. I just refuse. So that was kind of where I had shifted, was like, this might be the long haul. I might just feel this terrible the whole way. But if God would give us a reprieve, that would be great. So we went through a lot of conversation with our midwife. First, she said, I never say this, but could it be twins? Like, that's why your energy is so low, because you can't get on top of it. And then she was like, well, your iron, everything in your test looks totally normal. Maybe it's your stored iron. And then she was like, well, maybe you're not hydrated enough. And I'm like, I don't know how to drink more. And then she was like, are you eating enough? I said, I wake up eating. I eat in the middle of the night. I eat all the way until I go to sleep. But then we kind of pinpointed, what are we eating? And I'm eating, granola, and I'm eating like a plate full of veggies and some sour cream. I'm eating, a quesadilla and whatever I can get on the side. It wasn't enough power-packed calories in one sitting to sustain me to the next sitting.
Well, at some point you ate like a decent amount of avocado or something that made you think that you needed the fat. Mm-hmm. And I can't.
And I was talking to Rebecca, and I said, Rebecca, what, actually I texted Rebecca and Meg and said, you guys have been pregnant more recently than I have been. What were you doing to like snack? And Rebecca said, cholesterol. She was like, so I was making things with whipped cream and cream in this and cream in that. And so I was like, okay, well, I can do that. And I went to Costco and just bought, gross grocery store brand whipped cream or heavy cream that had like carrageenan and stuff in it. And I was like, I'm not really excited about this, but if this will take it away, I don't even care. If a Taco Bell meal would have taken this away, I was down. Like, for the person who's like, yeah, I'm filling my freezer with my pastured pork. And I'm like, yeah, let's try Taco Bell, because anything sounds better than what I feel. So I was desperate for a solution. And when I mentioned the cholesterol to the midwife, she goes, well, then get you some raw milk. Get raw milk and have it and drink milk at every single meal and just see if that works. So my primary concern was my pregnancy with Finley. My blood sugar was too high. Like, if I ate a bagel, I was like throwing people out of the way so I could lay down and take a nap. It was just intense and sensitive. So I was worried about that during this pregnancy so that I didn't repeat, walking down that same pathway into having a high blood sugar issue. But I'm actually experiencing the opposite. My blood sugar is really low. So things that I normally wouldn't have eaten in my previous pregnancy, like potatoes or like sweet fruits and things like that, I have to have with my meal. So if I had a steak and an avocado, it would be fine. But if I have a steak, avocado, and potato, some kind of starchy veg, I'm feeling so much better. And it can be a sweet potato, that's fine. But that was the big shift for me, eating more at once.
And all of the blood work is coming back to...
It's perfect. That's what she's saying, is like, this is so... she's like, I just want to pay extra attention to you and your diet, because this is not quite normal for you to have such a health-filled diet, but experiencing these slumps. And I was like, well, I'm basically crying on the couch every day because I feel so terrible. She goes, oh, that sounds like blood sugar. So we started addressing that. But the first easiest thing for us to do, which is obviously more complicated, was have a source of this nutrient-dense beverage like milk that had so many layers of nutrition in it that it would sustain me from one meal to the next, even if the meals were just 2 hours apart. So that was really the like pedal to the metal, let's make a decision, because we'd been talking about this addition to the farm since February, like seriously since February. So this was... Is
that whenever you came back?
Yes.
From
the baby shower.
Yeah, the baby shower up in North Carolina at the Roads. That was whenever... Bree said, hey, you don't have to have a perfect, piece of land with perfect pasture. Like, there's a lot of people that have a family cow and they just feed hay. She's
got nuggets. And like, when you sit with her, I remember us talking with her and Art when we very first started YouTube. And just Brianna just speaks very intentionally. And we were sitting there talking about, property and milk cows. The only people in our group that had dairy cows were the Rhodes and then Bree and Art. And in that, it was just like, why am I not asking questions to these people who know the things? I think you even say that. You're like, please don't go and hang out with your friends and not ask them really helpful, important things for our homestead.
Of course. I mean, I love that they're your friends and that.
But they're just, it's like a think tank.
It really is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like the fact that y'all get to be ladies up there and you get to have like a mastermind.
We don't get to be ladies anywhere else, but up there
well,
we do.
I'm saying, I don't know. You know what I'm saying.
But that was a huge influence to hear someone who actually owned cows and say, yes, you can see beautiful lush pastures, or our experience with raw dairy, which was we'd go to the dairy and, rolling green hills leading up to our drive to the dairy. And we're just like, of course we could never have a dairy cow because of the property. Like we have native grasses, we have sandy soil. There's nothing desirable for a cow on our property except these 6 awesome people who could do a great job at keeping cows. So the end conclusion was if we could give hay and we could afford feed and all of these things, then this cow could help create the pasture we desire. So these things combined, I am Captain Planet. Like that's just kind of how it came together.
And I don't even know. So I think it all kind of started. It didn't all start. I think that whenever we bought our Idaho pasture pig, the female, we bought it from of some farmers that had a Jersey that was really, really turnkey, ready, and she was available. And then I think that was like the thing that really got us to where we were like, okay, we're really considering this, to where you're asking the girls, hey, here's the price on it. Like this is available. We started like, okay, me being the wanting to always be like a proper consumer that I started, researching like, hey, here's some other ones, prices and everything, asking questions online, really
spreadsheets of what's a pro and a con.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's a Facebook, Keeping a Family Cow. And then there's also Keeping a Family Cow 2, like TOO. So if you want to get on those groups, they're good. There's also like a Keeping a Family Cow marketplace, which I didn't realize that until later, because that's where I found out that we didn't buy that cow. So that
the original cow.
Because we lost that cow. The original cow, it's fine. We didn't lose that cow. I'm just saying,
Bo's emotionally attached to a cow he was never getting.
I'm not emotionally attached to it. It was a very good learning experience. And I like the free market. I think it's cool. Like we decide, and I'm saying that in terms of trying to add value and content of if you're wanting to get a cow, there's a cost involved in this.
Yes.
And so if you find one that is sort of this turnkey, it's going to be worth the extra money.
Yeah.
So
can we talk about that? What range you saw in
absolutely
quality and even like not pedigree in that they were purebred, but pedigree and like you knew where they were last week and beyond.
Let's first say we have our cow.
We have our cow and she has a calf with her. Mm-hmm. So that's very exciting.
We do have a cow.
And I think that'll be part of like the next unfolding.
This is the cream. Yep. For our coffee right now. So,
and can we also say it's incredible. It's incredible to watch it work. And it took a minute. It took about 10 days before we got some sort of like confidence and rhythm down. Oh, yeah. But I would love for us to talk before we gush over this gorgeous cow and her beautiful doe-like calf and talk about breed and all of that. If we could talk about what we searched. So let's kick it off with this. When I first came home from North Carolina and felt like, hey, let's search out a cow, within a couple of months, and we included this in our release video about the cow, was I heard, hey, this local farm is selling some dairy cows. They're experienced milkers. Let's go check them out. So I contacted the person who was selling them.
Oh, you're going way back.
Yeah, I just want to touch on this.
For sure.
And why we passed on this very first cow, because there were some really significant things that were just not going to match up for us and our skill level and confidence, really. Not even budget wasn't an issue. But this local farmer was getting kind of like a shipment of 5 or 6 cattle. These were cows that were bred and then freshened, and they were part of a dairy. But the dairy was robotic. So once they got to the barn, they were led in by kind of a robot and to their stalls, and then they were hooked up, no people involved, and then they were led back out. So fed grains to keep them entertained while they were there, but then they were back out. So they weren't bad dairy cows. But we knew right away, okay, we're going to need a milk machine for this for sure. Like there was no option to hand milk right away. We'd have to train this cow into hand milking. They weren't halter broken. So we knew we were going to have to learn another skill to do that. And then we didn't have a way to get the cow here. So that was another thing, probably amongst many, many small things. But we were like, hey, as excited as I am at this cow idea, I'm not ready for this. I'm not skilled at this. This is not something we could do. So
even the lady selling it
she was very kind.
But she gave us like hints to say, I don't know if this is good for y'all.
Yeah. And she was very honest, and there were
You weren't not pregnant then.
I was not pregnant yet. No. Okay. This was still kind of earlier in 2021.
Yeah, that was a really slow warm up of like,
right.
Or maybe to say, at that moment, we were in search for the right cow.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to say it, because what that revealed to us was, we're not ready to just take on a cow that's been at a dairy because it produces milk. So we began to funnel down those ideas of like, here we want a dairy cow. Okay, what's most specific about it? And then let's talk more. So that we began to get specific about breed. We began to
Do you remember the price of those?
It was less than 2,000.
Okay, so
I think
less
it was
than
probably 18.
Okay.
Maybe 20 or 2,000 for depending on the cow that we were getting.
So around $2,000. This is Texas, but maybe it's universal, like not universal, but nationwide.
Yeah.
But $2,000 for a dairy that's getting rid of cows, machine milked, used to a system, probably not very flexible.
Not used to people.
Yeah.
And that's not that can't be trained. It just wasn't our wheelhouse for that.
So then we're going to the cow that we found. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So when did we get our pigs? What month was that?
Well, you mean we got Missy. It was in the summer. So that was probably
so a few months later.
It was probably August. It was really hot. I remember that.
It was very hot.
It was either late July or early
that was
August.
the first time we thought, family milk cow is a little bit different than just dairy cow in general.
Well, but that cow. So we picked up Missy.
Went to the farm.
And she mentioned that this cow, they were planning on selling her. Did not give me a price then, but gave me the information. It was kind of
just mentioned while you were there.
Exactly. So we got Missy home. There was a break-in for Missy to get used to the new pig. And
we had our meat pigs at the time.
Exactly. So it was, we weren't really in a hurry. So it was probably around a month. No, I think in a couple of weeks, she gave me the price for that cow. And she said she is $3,000.
Yeah.
And at that moment, we're like,
And she had a calf option. So another thing we learned in that funnel as we came down from
no, that calf was gone. That's not that the calf came later. I'll get to that.
She was in the video that you sent me.
I know, but she was already sold. The calf was sold then.
Oh,
then she became
I remember
back
now.
Available.
That's right.
So Kelly was not pregnant then. There was not.
I probably was. We just didn't know it.
Very likely. You were definitely not sick then.
No.
So then in that time, you get sick and with pregnancy. And then we start realizing, okay, which is crazy. The fact that someone would say, I am so pregnant sick, I need a cow.
I would say that.
Like that makes no sense.
I would say that. I'm like, and I can milk this cow, but do I come in clutch?
No, it's so
like
clutch.
I come in clutch.
But y'all,
it's just what I know.
I tried to get rid of this idea. I'm like, hey, this is bad idea. I don't know if we want to get the cow because you can't stand up, and I don't think you're going to stand up, and I don't want to do this all on my own. I'm doing everything. I'm cleaning the dishes. I'm making the meals and everything.
That's an accurate portrayal of exactly what happened.
But this is what. So anyway, but then Kelly said at this moment, because we're still getting like the foundation of why we went here.
Yeah.
And you looked at me, and I'll never forget it. Like there's some of these.
Tell
moments,
me, was I wise?
Never forget it.
Wiser than ever you thought I could be?
Yes. Well, kind of. It was scary.
Oh, it was cute though, right?
You're so cute. But no, it kind of ticked me off a little bit at first. I was a little mad because you said, "Babe," because I'm like,
"Babe."
I'm like, I don't think we need this cow. Let's rethink this and not buy a cow and just find raw milk somewhere.
Yep.
Like 30 minutes away. We can buy 4 gallons of milk at a time. It's easy. We can do this. And
it's easy.
And you said, "Babe, when we moved here, the agreement was that I would not have to take care of any animals."
That's fair. That's accurate.
And I was like, "What are you like? Why are you doing this to me then?" If you're not wanting, like, there was a moment that, and I probably interrupted you, and like, I was like,
that never happens.
That's insane. Like, I don't know. Then if you're not going to take care of the cow, this is so dumb. Why are we doing this? And you said,
then pregnant pause.
And you said, well, you interrupted and you didn't let me finish. I said that I agreed that I did not want to ever have a responsibility to take care of any of the animals on the homestead. I'm willing to leave all of my comforts of suburbia, move into a shed in the woods, and do this dream with you.
I maybe pull that out every once in a while. I live in a shed in the woods.
Yeah. You said, but then you looked at me and you go, "This is the first animal that I want."
Oh, you make it so like unseen.
I was like, oh, okay. We're okay. So you're going to help? I was like, I don't know how this works. I don't know how early.
Yeah.
At the moment, we were thinking like, we were thinking this, you're going to have to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and milk this cow.
Are you able to wake up at 9? Because
and I'm not joking. Moment,
I'm getting up at about 8:30. And then I'm like on the couch half the day.
No, at this moment, you're getting out of the room at 10.
No, not by the time we actually like find. That's what I'm saying is we shift, right? Yes. So when we had this conversation, like come to Jesus and get a cow, we are already.
Would you like some more coffee, my love?
Of course I do. So at this point though, I have gotten over the all day sickness and it's really shifted to like evening sickness. So I'm homeschooling our kids again. And the truth, I remember coming back with the line to say, "Babe, you were gone all day the other day and we fed the pigs and we put the chickens up." And I was just defending my position to say, this is a season. It's hard. It won't last forever. Lord, help us do this. That was where I was moving with this. And then the funnel begins to narrow and not just our options, but it was like our criterion. We wanted a cow that had great milk, right? Because even our local place that we can get raw milk from, nobody liked it, which is why we weren't buying it. It's also very expensive. It's about $10 a gallon. Yeah. And then the next best tasting milk raw was about an hour and a half away. So we're like, not that it's an even trade-off, but anybody who has a cow gets this trade-off. So the second is we wanted it to calf share. We didn't want to have to milk twice a day. And we knew that our family didn't need 6 gallons of milk a day to ourselves. We kind of fleshed that out a little bit as we had our cow arrive and we'd milked her for a few days and we're like, we can do this smarter. So that's a little side note for a couple minutes down the road. And then we needed a cow. I liked the idea of a Jersey. So because I knew it was always a Jersey. The cream would be great. I mean, there are other options. You can get brown Swiss, you can get Guernseys, you can get Jerseys, you can get Holsteins.
Jerseys give you like the 50%, which
very uniquely. I've learned that was very unique for us to get a round of 50% cream. So the funnel narrows,
but
right?
25% is very consistent for us.
And as soon as that appointment where the midwife says, you need, like, go for it, drink raw milk all the time, we started seriously looking closer in our area. Thankfully, we had a lot of options in Central Texas. So we could kind of draw a circle around us on how far we were willing to drive. But the final piece was we needed a cow that people could deliver to us.
Well, and we wanted, Well, now we're doing nuts and bolts. So we're going to go fast and then we'll dive in deep.
Do you want to talk about the cheapest cow that we found?
No, I want to first start with the cow that we didn't buy. So it's because we didn't go over that. So it's a $3,000 cow. It was a $3,000 cow. And we passed it up back then before you were like pregnant, sick. Mm-hmm. Then once we decided we're going to buy a cow, I went back to her and I said, okay, is she still available? Mm-hmm. And she said, yes, she is available. $3,000 and her calf, which what we found out is an older calf, is also now available again because it was going to be sold and the lady passed her up.
Right.
So the calf is $1,000. Mm-hmm. We have then realized now that the reason why it was an extra $1,000, the reason why it was $1,000 is because it was an older cow. And the older a bovine, is that what it is older, like a cattle is older, you pay more because it's more, mature. Mm-hmm. This cow I think this was probably her second or third calf. She was halter broken. Mm-hmm. She is 100% grain fed. Mm-hmm. I mean, sorry, 100% grass fed. So does not need any grain.
Even when milking,
she said that she would just stand. You could be out there in the pasture, give her, maybe some alfalfa or just even some hay. She will stand for you and let you milk her out. Like just really, really gentle. And then also we knew that we wanted a calf so that we could calf share so we wouldn't have to milk twice a day. So that was $4,000 in order to get that. Mm-hmm. We'd never tried the milk and we haggled. And we
lost.
And we lost. We totally lost. Like she did not budge on the price and she didn't need to.
Yeah, she knew what she had. Yeah, we did not know.
Exactly. So she didn't have to. So that's a $3,000 cow that is completely turnkey, and first cow family cow ready for newbies. I don't know if we ever found out she was bred or not.
I'm almost certain she was bred.
It's very possible she was bred. So letting you know about price, the $3,000 jersey, we're not going into mini jerseys. I think that that's a waste of money. Because I think over time you can breed for that. And I just don't want to have to deal with. Like, I think we originally thought that we would want a mini jersey, the A2.
Yeah.
I don't think that this one that we lost, I think she might have been like A1, A2. I don't know. But so just talking about price, that was the highest end that we were looking at. And I would assume that the calf was also halter broken as well. So we were like, okay. Then once we lost her, we're like, okay, we're out in the free market. Let's start looking. So we're going all the way down. We started searching on Facebook,
Craigslist.
Craigslist was not very good. The keeping a family cow was probably the best.
Yeah.
For some reason, they don't allow you to talk about buying animals there.
Well, I think that's why they have the marketplace.
Well, but yeah, they say that Facebook doesn't allow it. But then I guess the marketplace allows it. But it's still just a normal group. It just has the marketplace. I don't get it. But we found a person in Central Texas, a little bit south, that they buy
auction cows.
Auction cows. I think she kind of specializes in buying Jersey cows in milk because she has several of them.
Almost like the dairies are retiring these cows. And there could be a lot of reasons for that. Some of it is like maybe they're not producing enough for the dairy. And we'll tell you more about the dairy part of the farm where we got our cow in a minute. But she's basically like a dealer, like a third party. She and a partner go to auctions. Cattle auctions are really common. We have so many auction houses. I even have a friend who works at one now. And for any reason, a cow may come through the cattle auction, and then she and her partner are looking for specific things. Is it in milk? Is it healthy looking? Is it, how old is it? Because all of these things have to be known. But there are a lot of unknowns. So basically, once the cow is purchased at auction, you have really no record of where it came from, how long it had been in milk, how many times has it calved? Has it been AI'd or naturally conceived? Are they birthing live calves? Are they birthing stillborns?
Yeah, how many different farms has it been on?
Diseases, antibiotics, any of these things. These are very unknown things at an auction. So these aren't bad cows, but if you love the idea of rehabbing a cow, this is a great option.
Because the price is pretty phenomenal.
So drop that.
$800.
For a cow in milk. And
we went and we milked the cow.
Yeah.
Not like a lot, but...
Well, what's ironic is some of the cows that come through that auction are given so I think most cows peak, according to what we've been learning, at about 3 years. A cow may produce 6 to even 8 gallons of milk a day if they are bred by a dairy and then, obviously milked out so that they're continuing to produce more and more. The problem with that is then when they drop to 6 gallons, 5 gallons, there's going to be another round of cows producing 8 gallons. And so it doesn't make sense for the dairy to keep up with those lower producing cows. But it does make sense for a family to get their milk cow where even ours is producing less on purpose. We've been weaning her off since we got her, tapering off her production.
Not weaning her.
Right. We've been tapering off her production on purpose. So at this cow auction kind of grab bag is really where we went. Some of the cows were there because their teats were too big. So in the milking machines, you don't want long teats on your cow because it's more damage to the cow in the machines. So that was a really interesting thing to learn. But a neat part of this auction purchasing third party is that she would also pick up some bull calves or I don't even think she had heifer calves. I think she just had bull calves. And she would allow those bull calves to nurse on whichever cows she brought through.
Those were like $50.
Well, here's why. Because bull calves are far less desirable in the dairy industry for a lot of reasons, obviously. And the problem with a bull calf especially is most bull calves by a dairy are pulled off the mother cow and never get colostrum. And the colostrum in the first day is critical to their health. It fortifies their entire immune system. And without it, they're basically like sitting ducks. So I would never recommend buying a bull calf from a dairy if you're planning on...
You mean auction?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess the auction.
Okay.
So I would never buy a bull calf now that I know what I know, especially because it's going to have to be bottle fed and so tediously cared after. Most bull calves do not survive after they've been pulled from their mothers. So
then we went through all these same leads.
Yeah.
We found a Jersey breeder farmer dairy, like everything AI guy.
Yeah,
like,
I think you want to I think if we hone it down, this farmer is a rancher, I guess. So he's a Jersey breeder. And he runs a dairy, but it's
small.
Not public.
Yeah.
He really only keeps the dairy going so that the cows are healthy. So the difference is the cow is a female cow that had a female heifer that has given birth. So girl cows are heifers, boy cows are bulls until they're not.
I don't know if that's the only reason. He's getting out of business. He's older, and so he's.
But what I'm saying is, he was never producing mass quantities of milk for the public to consume. He's really no, that's what he said. He's like, I maintain the dairy to maintain the health of the cows.
Okay.
Because the truth is, and we didn't learn this until we started looking into more about dairy cows. So the cow may produce 6 gallons of milk a day, for example. She only obviously produces milk right after she's had a calf, so that's food for the calf. But because of the way that dairy cows have been bred over generations, they now produce more than the calf can ever consume because it's for people to consume as well. The calf, however, can only consume, ours, for example, is 2 months old. She can only consume about a gallon of milk per sitting or per day, depending on how much they're used to getting. If not, that dairy calf is getting, that calf, ours is a heifer, she gets white foamy diarrhea. And it doesn't mean that she's sick. It just means that she's not getting what she needs. She's getting too much milk. If your cow is producing 6 gallons of milk a day and your calf is only consuming 1, it's only responsible for the person who owns the cow to continue to strip her out. Otherwise, the cow producing the milk is going to get mastitis or some sort of illness. So we're working in partnership with those cows.
Which we'll talk about that when we get to getting the cow here. He had a cow, particular cow, this dairy farmer in mind for us. Because I said, the number one thing that we would want is a cow that we can handle.
Right. And hand milk.
And that is gentle, that is safe around our kids. And he goes, I have one, I have one that I have in mind.
And that we're first timers. Like exactly. We don't know what we don't know.
We have no idea. And he said, I have one. She'll let you hand milk her. She doesn't kick. She will calf share. She'll allow the calves come. And he said, just come over and look at them. And so we came, we looked at them. It was 61. That was the ear tags. The ear tags are still on. We got to get rid of those. And she was very pretty. And she didn't let us like pet her there, but
she was in a huge pasture. Yeah, huge pasture. Basically, we bought her sight seen, but not touched. Yeah, we milked her in the barn, but we hadn't we hadn't had a conversation.
So we saw her, and we then came home, and we talked about all the options. And basically, you were like, I want 61.
I'm sold, America. I want this cow. Let's get her home. Let's do it.
You said that you do not want the auction cow for $800.
A lot of reasons.
This cow, this 61 at the dairy, was $2,500. Yep. So we're $500 cheaper than the turnkey. And at around about this time, we lost the turnkey cow. And so we needed to go back to 61 to be able to make sure. And one of the things that we talked about, I was like, would you deliver? He would deliver for like $150.
Thank God.
Then he also had these heifer calves for $500. Now, the $500 to the $1,000 that we didn't buy, that one would have already been like totally. that $500. Oh yeah,
easier to handle.
Well, more ready to breed.
Yeah, totally.
Like saving time.
So we can't breed until 15 months.
I know.
So we have another year with this little calf before she's ready to
feed
breed.
her hay. Like there's like that fun.
There is a cost.
That's $500. That's a lot right there. So that was something that we did not know what we were passing up.
Right.
And it's not bad. Like we really love these two animals.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that we are like still, mad about it. It's just,
but if you're ever one of those people who has kind of like a big purchase and then you kind of take a little minute to not regret it, take our advice. The more expensive cow is not necessarily just more expensive. You're usually getting a higher quality cow, easier turnaround, easier
better teats,
easier to fold into your life, especially if you're the first time cow owner. But somebody who loves a challenge. We heard some great cow stories about, a wild cow who always bashed around the farmer, but a woman was like, fine, you deliver her, I'll do it. And he goes, I'll deliver her for free.
Yeah.
And then told this great story of how she really worked out the kinks with that cow and endeared the cow and
you
all
being
of that.
pregnant. Is that something that you're excited
Not
about?
Not a chance on this side of the moon would I ever get a rough cow.
But that's why I'm saying
we
don't have a rough cow.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are searching for this, because it is a very big deal to know that if you can find something that is $3,000 turnkey. I do think that our cow very possibly is going to have better cream, better milk quality, and possibly more milk than the one that we wouldn't have gotten. So that's one good thing because she was so bred to produce.
Well, also the length of time we'd had milk. So if the first cow you fell in love with was bred, you have to taper them off a couple months before, like totally dry them off of milk beforehand. So
if she was pregnant,
there's a chance that, I would have had the baby and then that cow would have had her calf, and there are still so many things we don't know. So don't take what we say as like expert information. This is just some information that is really helpful as you go along, because we were doing this for the first time and relying on Abundance Plus and our friends who are already doing this. I think that information is invaluable to talk with somebody who's doing the thing you want to do. Don't be afraid to reach out on social media, Instagram, email, whatever, because that connection is not you invading their space, especially if they're doing something like this, where they're sharing information, is because they desire more people to do this thing that we're doing. And we believe in the modern homestead movement. We believe in people connecting with their food. We believe in no more faceless meat. We believe in knowing that when the milk comes out of your cow, it's warm and steamy in the morning. Our kids are commenting on things that they never would have known. And it's beautiful to marvel at, because I'm always going to talk more than nuts and bolts. I'm going to talk about heart and soul. It's beautiful. It's super hard. It is. We are farm tired now. Like, I get what farm tired is. I get what bone tired is.
We're still doing the nuts and bolts. We got to get to that point before you get all romantic on us.
I can't help it. I cannot help it. But that's so important, that choosing your cow doesn't have to be a romantic process. Have those things, but don't be afraid to then take the leap, because we hit the ground running. There's no option to not milk that cow or miss a milking just because you're tired or you forgot or your time didn't line up, because that cow needs to be milked or she's going to get sick. So in shifting from knowing things and writing things down and saving bookmarks on the internet, we also had to just jump in preparedly. Like, we had a place for her to come. We had the food. We knew the stanchion would be built, like all of these things. We were ready as ready could be, but there's also a point where you can't get any more ready until you have your animal, or you have your shed to house, or you live in your RV, or whatever it is. You've got to learn some of these things hands-on and be willing to make mistakes.
We decide on the cow. It's going to be $2,500 for the cow, $500 for the calf, $150 for the delivery. So $3,150, because we couldn't do that. Like, that was part of the thing that we were haggling about was, hey, we don't know how to deliver this cow. We ended up finding a livestock trailer pretty soon. So yay. And here's the thing. We ended up getting ready really fast, no matter what. Like, we thought we needed a whole month to get ready for that cow, but we didn't, because we got ready for this cow pretty quick. Like, we got everything ready in about 2 weeks. We built the stanchion. We
cleared the property. It wasn't a lot of property, but like, we had to clear a section where we could build these pens.
The little holding pen. Yeah. So we have a little holding pen that's a full holding pen that's split down the middle to where
there's two stalls almost.
Yeah, two little stalls. Yeah, to where we can they can be together, but then also separate with two different gates.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a good side note. I was mentioning to my friend, I think it was Sarah. So Sarah and I were talking on Instagram, and she said, how's your cream? How's the cow looking? And I said, oh, well, we're getting this. It seemed like cream was short the other day. And then when I posted about the half cream day, she was like, girl, that's amazing. She's holding nothing back. And I shared that, well, the calf that we have isn't necessarily hers. It could be hers, but I don't know, because the way the dairy worked was, out of all their cows that were in milk, one cow in milk, all the other cows would go into the barn and get milked twice a day. And one cow in milk. I always want to say mama cow, but it's the same thing. It's redundant. So the cow in milk, one of them would stay in a pasture, kind of like a corral, and all the little calves would come. There were 4, maybe 5 calves. They would come and they would nurse, and then mama would get some grain at the end of it, kind of like a reward. She just like stood there still in the corral, got nursed, and then once they milked her out, she went to go have grains. So that was on rotation.
So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
The $800 cows in the auction were grain fed, and this one that we got is grain fed.
Well,
grain milked.
I think there's a big difference. This cow was pastured and hay fed. So I would say you can also tell the difference in the look of their milk. The greener the milk, grain, the greener the milk, the more grass they're on. And this milk has always been very yellow and greener.
I don't know why you're saying green.
I meant to say more yellow. That's a whole nother fun.
The ryegrass.
Well, there's a whole nother fun science lesson that we've done with our kids about the color of the milk. Because they were like, this is not, they'd had raw milk plenty of times before, but they're like watching it come out that this is not the same color as what we got organic milk from Walmart. There's a lot of reasons for that.
Walmart's a straight up white. Our milk is
as white as you can get.
Very beautiful, creamy yellow.
Yes, but if you've never had yellow milk before, you might be concerned about why is this milk
Everett
yellow?
Everett kind of is like thrown off by it. It's funny.
Well, he's observant. Yeah. I think that's what it is. He's just like noticing, but he notices in his own time where we're like, that's obvious. And he's just like noticing a lot of other stuff.
So let's talk about we got the cow comes.
Yes.
I want to know everything that Kelly thinks. You are 3-4 months pregnant. You're hitting all the microphones and the tables, and I want to know about you hand milking, you taking care of a cow, you having to wake up, go for it.
I love a process. So this is amazing to me. To have a process where you go from literally nothing to then clearing the space. And then it's a reality that you've got these stalls for the cows to come home to. And then, you prep and clear space and remove things so that the truck can come in. And then there is this cow here. And then it's kind of like having a baby. Then you have this cow and you're like, oh, I'm responsible for you.
And you have a baby in your belly. And you're going to do all this again.
And she does not care. She does not care I have a baby in my belly. She's just like,
oh, what's the cow's name?
Give me what I need.
What are the cows?
Yeah.
It's cow calf
name. The cow's name is Goldie. She's about 800 pounds of beautiful golden Jersey goodness. And then the baby is Princess Buttercup.
Oh, so we're keeping Princess there.
I am. Why would we call her Buttercup if we're not going to do the whole name?
Okay, so she's
Princess Buttercup. Insert all.
Oh, I just told. That's not going to come on the registry.
You better fix that.
It's done.
Well, then
you told me Buttercup
her again. No, I didn't. You said, let's go with a pop culture reference. And I said, okay, I like Princess Buttercup. Can we call the mom Fezzik? And you were like, no.
Uh-oh.
But if you haven't read Princess Bride, it's fantastic. And you should read it.
I'll try to find it.
The audiobook of Princess Bride is our favorite. So that was fun to name them that. When we got Goldie, we separated her and the calf because we wanted to start getting her on a schedule. And then we had this unintentional cow party that night where friends that we had told about getting the cow, several of them had experience with milk cows or were ranchers themselves or their families were ranchers. And so they came over, checked out the cow. We ate butcher box meat on our fire grill. I just pulled things from the freezer, which was perfect. And we had patties and hot dogs and everybody brought something. So we just potlucked this cow party. And what they suggested was get this cow on a schedule as quick as you can, meaning if you're going to put the calf with her at night, that just means you're not going to have the milk you want in the morning. So we kept the calf off that afternoon. And then the next morning we milked Goldie out as much as we could. It took an hour and a half. We were bumbling as a mess. It might even have been 2 hours those first few days. But everything from the rhythm of we have to clean her off. We have to brush her down. We have to get her grains ready. We need to keep her grains going because she's this dairy cow. So she's used to literally a silo and a chute, just pouring grains into a bin for her. She eats as fast as she can because she's trying to get as much grain in as she can before the milk machine drops off and she's milked out, because then when that happens, she has to go. So she's used to eating that quick grain.
So she puts out like 3 to 4 gallons in probably 5 minutes.
So
with that machine.
Yeah. And I think, that's what I was going to say is at the dairy, she probably only got like, I don't know, 2 scoops worth of grains out before she
probably was able to eat like
through.
5 to 10 pounds.
Yeah. Probably like 20 total a day.
Yeah.
And she's getting probably, I don't know, maybe 25 from us a day, because we're really, we're going through about half a bag of
But we have
grain.
now switched that. Now we've thought, okay, we tried some alfalfa cubes and she hates those things. She just cannot
is
do
like
the cubes.
a toddler picking the beans out of chili. Her face is in this like bucket of feed, and we've mixed, we're trying to like hide the veggies in your kid's smoothie or whatever. But it really has so many parenting parallels. It's not even funny. Yeah. Even down to like the ornery stubbornness of a cow is really interesting to learn. So I'm in the persuasion like, oh, let's just let her know we love her. Let's just gently guide her along. Let's talk to her like a real animal. I also watched a movie called We Bought a Zoo. And so I'm like, no, we're going to be real with our animals. We're just going to talk to them like we need to talk to them. It was like, I don't know, fairy godmother, Mother Nature, weird hippie mindset that I was in that was going to get this cow to just be enamored with us and so grateful for the life we've given her. You have to go back and watch. She does not care. So cows want to know who's boss. And if you are not a boss against an 800-pound powerhouse animal, they will boss you. So I've spent, in the days since we've gotten Goldie, just texting friends like, hey, I hate to be asking you about a cow
Justin,
again.
if you're listening to this, you need to figure out a way to have the text thread to go on Abundance Plus, because it is so...
like a ticker tape underneath.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much great, like just gold in there of everything that we've learned and just the hilariousness of it.
Yeah, there's some good things just about like... the honesty of first-time cow owners, hey, we want to make sure that she's not getting mastitis, or questions like, is it normal for the cow to have this white foamy poo? Like, this seems strange. My favorite part of having the cow is how quickly everyone has realized in our family, all 6 of us, everyone has realized how valuable she is and what a shift it is, almost like in seriousness or commitment or just appreciation. We all eat the chickens and we appreciate the chickens. We all eat the pork and we appreciate the pork. But this is a kind of a different story. Even the chickens who give us eggs, we appreciate this. But we also know, like, man, if a coyote gets a chicken, it's just sad, but we get another chicken. There's something about the appreciation of this cow where Ella asked the other night, Mom, do you think our life is better now that we have a cow? I was hesitant because I know that this last 10 days of having a cow, I mean, y'all, it's that fresh for us. It's 10 days of a cow. And in that time, it has been Mommy wakes up, Mommy gets dressed, drinks a real quick protein shake, and goes outside to milk this cow.
You're waking up at 7:30. Y'all, yeah. I have to say, I'm sorry, this is so big.
This is Bo's dream.
I have known Kelly since 2005? 4. Maybe
Texas
2004.
State, 2005.
I graduated. Since we've been married. Yeah, you're right. Since we were married, I know that. When we were dating,
since we got married, I've known her.
I never forget. And we were been married since we just now had 13 years, y'all. Like, that's awesome.
We're so in love.
Oh my goodness, I totally forgot to say that like what's new in the homestead. We took the pigs on our 13-year anniversary.
You did good.
So that was a big day. And sorry, oops. But you agreed to it.
I did.
But so 13 years, I have, for the first like 1 or 2 years, I tried to inspire you, to manipulate you, to coerce you, to bribe you, to shame you, like anything I could do to get you to wake up. Would you like how I slid that shame part
in at the end?
Anything to get you to please wake up a little bit earlier. And for the like last 10 years, I'm just like, nope, it's so much better.
Why in the last 10 years have you not tried to wake me up in the morning?
Because it's just better and it's smart. I'm smarter.
Because one of us is getting up with all of the children all night long and one of us is not.
I'm not arguing.
But you also get up at 4 a.m. like it's your job. So
I know.
We're just very, very different humans.
I'm exhausted right now.
But I
put in like 2 full work days already.
But that's where like the value of me sleeping in and having rest is so crucial, because you'll come up to a hurdle or something in our life, not even like major life, but just like day to day. I don't even know how to figure this out. And then I come in and I'm like, well, what if we looked at it this way? And the opposite of us works out well.
No, we're great.
I think well, that's because I'm waking up at 7 a.m. now.
I'm saying,
you're
but
happy.
You have come in.
I know.
In the clutch.
As I rub my pregnant belly, you're right.
You have said, this is the first animal that you have wanted. And I remember the first like day 1 or day 2, you woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning, bright-eyed, because started getting things ready.
Out my window is the cow mooing at me just like an infant who's like, get up and take care of me. I do not care if you want to sleep. I'm here.
Your mama instincts.
I know. They really have.
Just like, bam. It's just like a baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just proud of you. I'm grateful for you, because right now you and I are milking this cow, moving this cow together twice a day. We're milking the cow twice a day. And you're I don't do anything with the calf right now. You're doing you and Ella are doing all the work with the calf, while I'm doing all the other animals. I'm just very grateful for you in doing that. And the milk is something that you cannot get. That's what I was thinking. Like, Justin was talking on a podcast, or I think I told him that I ended up, that we were looking at getting a cow, and he's like, cows are hot right now.
Cows are hot right now.
And that was the thing, like, that I think that with cows being hot right now, I really do think that people are waking up and knowing that the world is changing, inflation is happening. This is where I get like really weird and nuts and bolts of, you need to start taking control of your food.
I think participating in your food circle, if we're not starting to close in our food circle, if we're not getting involved with local farmers, if we're not going to farmers markets, supply chain is this year. The
bacon has gone up from $5.50 last year in 2020 to now it is over. I think it's like $9.60. This is not like the good. Yeah. This is just Oscar, like this boring bacon, like unhealthy bacon.
I think this is where the homesteader mindset has to come into play. So just like we were making the decision about a cow at the beginning of the year, and a good friend shared, your property does not have to look picturesque in order to have a cow. That was where we were at in our homestead mindset. We wanted a cow, but we thought it couldn't happen. A lot of us and listeners want to homestead, but you don't have to have property to homestead in a state of mind or a position of your heart. If you believe in locally sourcing your food, go to local sources. Doesn't mean it has to be perfect all the time. We have a Costco membership. God bless Costco. But if I can buy a side of beef from my neighbor, I'm going to do that. If you can start creating an emergency plan for when you can't afford your bacon and you have food stored up. That is wisdom. That is wisdom. If you can plant tomatoes, if you can plant herbs, this is wisdom. When you can get nutrient dense food into your home because you have this homesteader mindset of preserving food and putting nutrient dense seasonal foods on your plate, this is critical to the movement that we're talking about as far as people returning to the land or getting closer to their food source, their family, their community. We shouldn't be driving into our garages and never seeing the people next door. This is a shift. And if that is where you're at, that's the perfect place to be. It doesn't have to be family milk cow. It doesn't have to be raising your own meat.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I'm only talking about the milk cow at this moment of like $3,000.
Oh, I know.
That was a lot of money. And we've, thank you, Lord, for being blessed that we could write that check. But the thing that I was going at is Justin was saying having a cow is next level homesteading. Absolutely. It's a big old animal.
It is.
It's a huge commitment. But there is nothing, and now we get it. There is no other thing of raising your own food. This is not turnkey. It costs a whole lot of money. It takes a whole lot of time. But we are getting a gallon of milk, 2 gallons of milk to feed our pigs every single day. And we're getting about a gallon to a gallon and a half to put in our refrigerator for our family.
Yeah.
And there's probably more than a gallon to go to the pigs, so we're going to have to rotate this as well. And this cow is raising a future, another dairy cow for us to either milk ourselves, have 2 dairy cows, or for us to sell as like an income. Like, or I mean, us to breed and then sell. Like, what I'm saying is,
I wish we could remember. You might know, but someone said the family milk cow is the key to sustainability on the homestead or on the farm.
Oh, it's the book. I mean, I talk about it. Well, yeah, I'll put it up here. And on the video, I'm sorry, I'm spacing out on the actual book. I'll try to get it here before we close. Just look it up. But yes, that the family cow it's the linchpin. It is the most on a sustainable homestead. If you live where there's nothing but rocks, you're probably not going to be able to do it. But
it doesn't mean you can't find someone nearby who does do it. Like,
I know.
When we didn't have rabbits, we would get poo from our friends whose kids were in 4-H. Like, we would just ask them to collect it for us and bring it home. I just want it to be attainable to people because it's very idealistic to look at someone, even like we were before the cow, and like, well, we don't have the pasture for this. That's okay. The cow can help us build the pasture. If it's I don't have the property.
Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It by John Seymour. That's the book that talks about. I mean, a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah, but I just think that that's a really critical phrase to stick in your mind if you're considering a milk cow. It takes a lot of time, especially to learn it if you've never done it. But I don't think it's impossible. If we can do it, other people can definitely do it.
So there's more to talk about this. We could do this. This is we should have done 2-parters, but
like.
Well,
wrap it up.
No, I'm not saying wrap it up. We got to actually have to go milk the cow.
That's true.
So I'm not like it is right now 3:30. So we're an hour behind her normal schedule.
No, we're stretching her till 4, which is what I prefer.
Okay. So I would like for you to like tell me we've had the cow and calf for 10 days. Just, I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah. I think my deepest fear in having her is that will become prisoners to our property. It's always been my greatest concern about having any animals. But we have animals already. And if we have to be here anyways to take care of pigs, to make sure the chickens get up every night, if we have to be here every day to feed our dogs, then we're already in such a deeply committed relationship with our property and the way that it runs. This is a sensible solution for so many things. You mentioned the inflation on on bacon. Well, the cost of feeding that bacon before it becomes bacon has also increased. Our pig feed has gone up a lot. And this is like a joyful thing to get to offer our property. For me, it's an investment in my time it's an instant ROI. I invest my time in the morning.
We were able to give those 2 last girls.
I know.
So much milk
really good
for the last week of their lives.
Yeah, we just soaked their feed in milk and then they got this great nutrition. So the time of getting up, the justification, you could have been real bitter about that. You could have been like, dang it, you'll get up for a cow, but you won't get up at 6 a.m. for me. But you're not that way. So it's a lot of freedom. But the time that it takes to milk her every day, we're not just milking. Then we're filtering milk. Then we're freezing it to chill it down fast enough. Then we're putting it in the fridge. Then we're sanitizing all the jars. There's a lot to go into this cow. It's a deep, deep commitment. I really do think it parallels infancy so truthfully, but that's probably because I'm pregnant. So that makes a lot of sense that my mind is already there. I
think Kelly's going to cry on every podcast episode.
I always do. I cry at everything. The return on investment is right as I milk her, she's relieved. I know I'm keeping her healthy. The calf is much more patient, waiting for us to get through the milk. The pigs are happy. Our kids are happy. I see cheese and butter in our future. Like there is also doing this without being afraid pays me back. Because I don't care about how many people watch and I don't care about numbers. I really don't. Because I have enough little people to steward that I'm most responsible for. But we've been given a platform where when we can connect deeply rooted principles and values in life, not moralistic crap that makes you feel good about yourself, but like deep values of, I want to steward this land well. Here's where I cry. This cow helps us do that. This cow helps us do that in a massive way. In the same way getting a tractor helped facilitate us stewarding the actual land and clearing space so trees can grow and grass can grow. This cow helps us create pasture for future animals or future trees. And these things are just so critical that returning to the land isn't ineffective without a cow. But there's a significant impact when we invest ourselves in the cow. The cow invests herself in us, in our family. This is a big impact. So I think that when we can share that honestly and say, this is not beautiful. We are not going to be your white-walled farmhouse with no dirt on the front porch. We're going to be the family that kicks their shoes off before they get to the stairs because they're covered in poop. Like, this is the most authentic way that I think we can represent the path from suburbs to homestead without glamorizing, but also without missing what is so beautiful about it. It's not beautiful because it packages well. It's beautiful because process is beautiful and because God loves the process and he's not done with us. So I'm just going to cry because I'm pregnant. So I'm having a spiritual encounter with my cow. So that's why I love the cow, because it reminds me that this is not meant to be perfect. And if we were perfect, we wouldn't need Jesus and we wouldn't need patience for one another and we wouldn't need to exercise what we were saying. Just getting her is like, we have to be so patient with her, but she's ridiculously patient with us. We know nothing. And she's just great, even though she stepped on my foot and now I have a bruise. Like, there are just amazing things about having this cow that I appreciate really richly. And it kind of stuns me. I think that's been my messages to all our cow friends is like, I can't believe we get to do this. And maybe we won't always get to do this. I think that's always in my mind is like, thank you for the time we get to do what we're doing in our life. And if you should change our path, God, we want to go with that. But for the time being, I don't want to miss the good stuff and the hard stuff and the stuff that sands off the rough edges. Like, we have rough edges. And if we think that we don't, man, heaven help me, because when have I ever gotten up at 7 a.m.? Never. Never. If you like this episode, then you can find us at our YouTube channel, Better Together Life, or Bo is on Instagram at Better Together Life, and I'm on Instagram, Kelly, at Better Together Wife.